Okay, hello. Hello. Alright, it's been a while. Here we are. And I'll wait for some people to get in. Apologies if it took longer than expected. It's been a hassle getting this stream up and running today. Oh. Wow, the map got a huge update. It's been quite a while since I last played. Even the rock textures look new. Oh yeah. Hope things are going well. And what is going on here? Huh. Boom. Oh, they got rid of all the different tail attacks. All right. One sec. I'm just trying to. See what works best. All right. Well, hello. Just getting settled in here. Huh. I was not expecting paddle for an Odontosaurus. That's genuinely surprising. Okay, born frugivore and hides. And what about senses? Perfect. Alright, well, I hope everyone's been doing well and been having a good summer so far. Yeah, I do not know why my game is lagging as much as it is, and I might need to clean the fan. But yeah, so there's been some updates since the last stream. Most prominently, progress on the project I've been working on has been going very smoothly. I can't say for sure when it will be posted online, but you can expect within the coming months. I'd say a realistic estimate would be 3 months before it's finally ready to be shared. For that specifically, I think I've decided I'm going to be using a blog type format. Whether it's an existing blog or my own website, I don't know yet. I got to look at all the options available. But yeah, that's definitely the big one to look for. And besides that, uh, yeah, there's not too much I can say without revealing, as I want to keep this very tightly under wraps until it's ready to be shared. But needless to say, I am very excited for when it does eventually happen. Because it's something I've been putting a lot of work into, and I think it's going to be a very interesting project that for people to look at. Besides that, though, I've also finally got a job. So how it's working for now is that I go on rotation for 3 weeks, and then I'm off for 3 weeks. So currently, I'm in the between rotations. So I obviously won't be able to work during the time that I'm gone. But even then, it's not like I'm losing time because I have 3 weeks to do everything I need to. Um, for anyone watching who has Path of Titans, I'm currently on the NatHist or Natural History server, specifically their New Dawn server. It's got mods on it, and it has some rules, but they're not super strict. So it's a very chill server for the most part with pretty good people on it. But yeah, uh, the project is something very exciting. I've always wanted to do more creative type works with an educational spin on them because I firmly believe that you can educate people through entertainment, and I personally encourage it when possible. Not to say that entertainment needs to have an educational spin on it, but I think there's more value added to it when it does have a something to talk about. Just like when a movie has like themes or events worth discussing, I think the same can be said if a piece of media has something to offer when it comes to education, but also how science is shared and um, takeaways that can be made from everyday people, even those who are not actively studying in those specific fields. And with luck, um, yeah, with luck, this project of mine can add something into discussion of how we view extinct animals. It is a real pain trying to check the comments when possible, so apologies for that. Yeah, I am very aware that it's laggy. I do not know why. This is the first time I played pot in a while. I mean, it's not necessarily that it has to be in a fun format. I think documentaries that are just straight to the point um, do still have value to them. It's all a matter of how the media or what you're trying to convey is how it's told. Like, obviously, if you're presenting something like a tragedy, I wouldn't want a fun spin being put on it because that's disrespectful for the parties involved. With when it comes to more natural pieces of media, be it animal documentaries or dinosaurs or what have you, there's definitely more leeway into how it could be shared. I think Walking with Dinosaurs and Prehistoric Planet are both excellent examples of how to do it well. But even not including just those two, um, even other documentary types that focus more on the paleontology and the people involved also have a lot of value behind it, because a lot of when it comes to paleontology, a lot of people forget that there are actual people behind the science and the stories and tribulations that they go through as well. There's a lot of behind the scenes stuff that isn't really conveyed all that well, unfortunately. Yeah, I probably won't stream for too much longer, just because I realize that there's not too much for me to share left for me to share, and the stream is just not very entertaining to watch because of um, how poor the quality is. And I do apologize for that. I do not understand why it is so bad compared to previous times I've streamed. I think it's just because the fan needs to be cleaned, if I'm being honest. I've neglected that for a good long while. Yeah, the Sea Monsters documentary was another excellent one that mixed CGI reconstructions with actual interviews with the paleontologists themselves and showing how it worked. That's actually a great example as well. Yep, it could be the internet too, which is odd because it's the middle of the day. And I don't imagine middle of the day would be when it's most strenuous. But yeah, even outside of documentaries, I feel like other pieces of media that tap into dinosaurs and other extinct animals, well, they could definitely be better, to put it lightly. And I think we're all aware of that to some extent. Again, not to say that be these anything involving dinosaurs has to be educational per se, but I think having a basis in reality lends way more credibility and makes it more interesting, while also showing that you give a damn. To give a very quick example, wait a minute. Okay, no. I thought they changed the map here for some reason. Yeah, to give a quick example of what I mean, look up what artwork of elephants in the medieval ages were like. These are descriptions of living animals from people who've never seen anything like it, only being told what it looked like from someone who did visit Africa and saw them. They are bizarre. They're extremely funny in some instances, and very much not like actual elephants. And yet, whenever people do movies or whatnot that are set in the medieval ages, elephants aren't designed after these medieval artworks, because that's not what elephants look like. We know this. But they didn't know that, and I just find it kind of funny that people use the excuse like, oh, well, we don't actually know how dinosaurs look like, or, oh, well, we didn't know at the time that had to like, or, oh, we don't need to make them look like how they're supposed to look like. Well, that's just kind of, I find that kind of funny because that excuse is never used for any other kind of animal. Like, oh, like you're watching an action movie that has lions in it. Well, how come the lions look realistic? I mean, it's a fantasy movie. You don't need to use realistic lions. It's a very strange argument I find when people say that, like, because they're not alive today, that gives carte blanche to just not bother in some instances. That isn't to say that you can take creative liberties with designs. That's completely different. But then creative liberties is also used as an excuse for poor design decisions, which is really sad. And also, I think, does a disservice to people who actually give a damn and try to do good creative designs, be it for fantastical or real animal depictions. Like, if I were to give a good example of good fantastical designs that are still like have some basis in reality, I think the dinosaurs and other fictional creatures from Peter Jackson's King Kong, like, to me that is almost the gold standard. There's some issues with them, but they're so minor compared to the rest of the effort put into the designs for creating an essentially a true lost world where animals were just able to evolve in isolation for 66 million years. It's incredibly well done and honestly a little ahead of its time. I'm just catching up on the comments. I mean, to be fair, I think the Jurassic Park novel was a big reason for pushing more modern reconstructions of dinosaurs in the first place. Because even though at the time it was written there was a lot of minor inaccuracies, Michael Crichton went out of his way to talk to actual paleontologists uh, for advice on how they're reconstructed, what their metabolism was like, and obviously it's been talked about to death at this point. But yeah, um, in the Jurassic Park novel, there's a discussion about cloning real dinosaurs versus cloning dinosaurs people want to see. I feel like this area's been updated. I don't remember this many pine trees here. The game does look really good though, still. Oh, you know what? Because there was an update, they probably the settings probably reset, so it's on higher settings. That might be contributing to the lag. I just realized. But regardless. I can only hope that with more and more people following paleontology and being more outspoken about wanting better quality when it comes to dinosaurs in media, that we'll get that. Because ultimately, that's what I think we need. It's not necessarily realism, it's not necessarily the most scientifically up to date reconstructions, it's just quality. That's what's missing. There's not enough quality when it comes to dinosaurs in media. People are just so quick to just slap a T-Rex into whatever it is they're doing and say, "Oh, look, it's a dinosaur." That's all. No one gives a shit about how it looks or how it acts or anything. That's why there's a stigma that dinosaur games are so low quality. They're low effort, easy to, and people who enjoy dinosaur media are easy to please. It's why we have stuff like The Isle, and why Ark is going through the problems that it's currently going through. Which, while I've never been into Ark personally, I do feel bad for Ark fans. They definitely deserve better than what they're getting right now. In fact, funnily enough, playing Path of Titans, the entire dinosaur survival game genre is a symptom of this lack of quality. People are just so quick to jump into the next game where you can play as a dinosaur that these are just get pumped out by people looking for a quick buck. Not to say that there aren't some with actual effort and passion behind them, but I think it's just a case of resources being spread too thin and too many conflicting ideas of what they want. Writing is definitely like a big issue because it's dinosaurs. You don't need a plot. But I think it's more than just the writing. I think dinosaur designs also take a very big hit because if your designs are not just lazy copy pastes of whatever Jurassic Park designs you have, then they're usually the most low effort, creatively bankrupt designs you can ever find in media. Like, how often are dinosaurs just big scaly lizards with a bunch of spikes, or in the case of 65, just some of the worst anatomy of any fictional animal I've ever seen. Good God, they messed up the 65 designs. Like, not even in terms of accuracy. I mean, even assuming that this was an alien planet that just, or whatever, just let's assume it, like, instead of taking place in Hell Creek, it took place in uh, a formation that never fossilized. And they're like, okay, we'll just design animals for here. There's no fossil evidence from this time period and location. We'll just go wild. Even then, they just no effort. The designs are honestly just no effort put into them because it's a dinosaur movie. Who cares? And it's not only just bad. It doesn't only just reflect poorly on dinosaur media in general, but it's also bad for a horror movie because they're frankly not even that scary. Some of the designs I think are just kind of comical. Well, what can you do, unfortunately? Best we can do is just, if you're not able to work on these big budget productions personally, then put effort towards creating something yourself, and that's kind of what I'm going for. Yeah, that's a good point. And it's kind of funny too because I saw some reviews from people who have no affiliation with dinosaur media whatsoever. I guarantee these are kind of the kind of people who've only seen Jurassic Park, and that's where they get most of, not all, their dinosaur information from. And almost all of these reviews go, yeah. So there's like a tree dinosaur, which I don't know. Like, is it even a real dinosaur? I've no like people who have no idea what modern paleontology is like can still tell that the creatures in 65 are not real dinosaurs. Like, you have to mess up so badly to pull something like that off. And it's unfortunate because it's not like creature design is a dying art or anything. There's still plenty of movies and TV shows with fantastic creature designs. It's just no one bothers when it comes to dinosaurs. Like, the biggest shock to me with Jurassic World was specifically finding out that Fallen Kingdoms dinosaurs. The concept artist, first of all, isn't even a creature designer by trade. They hired someone who primarily deals with vehicles. Or I think no, I think that was the modelers. I don't remember, but that was one thing. But specifically, the concept artist had, I think, 2 weeks to conceptualize every dinosaur for that new dinosaur for the movie. And a full week or something was dedicated just to the Indoraptor. So that means the Carnotaurus, Allosaurus, Sinoceratops, less than a week to conceptualize all of them. And it's like, how do you make a dinosaur movie and put literally the minimum amount of effort into designing the dinosaurs for your dinosaur movie? It is just, it's a joke. It's honestly a joke. It's the only way I can describe it. Well, hopefully with Jurassic World finally done, though, we can have other pieces of media attempt to do their own spin on things, free of the influence of the Jurassic series. Because as much as I love the original Jurassic Park, it shouldn't be the only dinosaur film that we can look up to. Much like how Star Wars shouldn't be the only sci-fi movie that people look up to, and Lord of the Rings shouldn't be the only fantasy movie that people look to for inspiration. I think it's fine for Jurassic Park to share the spotlight with other films. There's nothing wrong with that. It's a fantastic film, among the greatest films ever made. There's no question about it, but it doesn't need to be the only good dinosaur movie. Anyway, well, enough about what movies and whatnot are doing poorly. Let's talk about what things are going well. And for one, I think Prehistoric Planet was an incredible success. Both seasons, absolutely loved it to death. And to say that Prehistoric Planet wasn't partly an influence for the project I'm working on would be an understatement. It is not the primary inspiration, because I think I don't remember exactly how the quote goes, but it's stealing if you only take from one or two. It's inspiration if you steal from three or more sources. I think that's how the quote goes. And I think that's very true in this case. Although, granted, I'm taking from way more than just 3 sources, considering I'm consulting a lot of scientific papers for reference, but even outside of scientific literature. I'm also drawing a lot of inspiration from pieces of media and stories as well. Oh, you haven't seen Prehistoric Planet yet? Um, Watch it. I can't emphasize it enough. Watch it. It is so good. So good. It does both an amazing job at showing behavior and ideas that have never really been presented before to the general public, while also showing things we have seen before but far better than ever done before. It showcases dinosaurs as they were, as living, breathing animals. And unlike this game, ankylosaurs don't die of thirst after 10 minutes of walking around. I got really scared for a second. I thought that was something in the water. Yeah, this server, as much as I enjoy this server, the biggest problem is that it has Deinosuchus, which is an incredibly broken and unfun animal to deal with. Um, with that, there's not much else I want to add, honestly. Just, the project is going well, and I'm very excited to share it. I might even have a small trailer to advertise its release when it finally goes up online. And it won't take me like 3 years just to get a trailer out, thankfully. Because I know someone who does film editing, so I'm probably gonna pay him to put together a quick little, maybe 20 or 30-second trailer, just to give a brief idea of what this project is about without giving much away, because I think a big part of the experience is going to be reading and seeing for yourself what I have planned. All I'm going to say is I hope that not only do you like dinosaurs, but that you like all sorts of animals, because dinosaurs will not be the only thing appearing in this project. And that's like one of many things that I want to tackle with this, is just showing off what an extinct ecosystem is like. I got so confused why everything just turned pink for a second. Yeah, I heard that they updated the lighting in this game, but geez, that is sudden. I'm not a fan of that. Still, keep an open mind, and always remain curious, and looking to learn new things. Because there's no better way to grow as a person than by being open to change. Couldn't Callosaurus swim? So the interesting thing is that they actually would probably be too buoyant. There was one paper that looked at the float and bloat hypothesis, which is to explain why a lot of ankylosaurs that are found in water are typically found upside down. And it's because after death, their bodies would bloat and they would flip over onto their backs in the water. As for swimming, they would be buoyant enough to keep their heads above the water, although they likely, like most animals, wouldn't spend a huge amount of time in water. But crossing bodies of water, I don't think was unreasonable because their osteoderms weren't as necessarily because they're heavy, but they're not denser than water. At least not enough to drag it down completely. Yeah, aquatic reptiles are fantastic, and obviously fish are great too. So, with that, I'm just gonna end this here. I hope everyone's doing well, and yeah, just take care of yourselves. Hopefully, by the next time you hear from me, I will be ready to share this project with everyone. So, take care.